Billy Luna.
Charlie Hustle told Joey that he took the Phillies subway to every game he played for the Phillies. Joey joked that if you take the subway in Philly now, you need a fucking machine gun. In Rose's sophomore year, he says his salary was bumped up to $12,500. Pete jokes that he has more than $12,500 in his pocket right now during the interview with Skinny Joey. Skinny Joey and Charlie Hustle are great together because they're both funny as fuck. Let me tell you a little bit about Pete Rose and the mob. Rose allegedly placed at least 6 bets with Dominic Basso, a notorious Chicago bookmaker and alleged member of the Chicago outfit. Joseph J.C. Cambra has been implicated in a high-stakes gambling operation allegedly intertwined with the patriarch of Cosa Nostra family, with ties reaching all the way to Pete Rose. Joey mentions that he was at the famous game when the Phillies won the pennant in 1980. Joey says that he was there with Salvi and Joe Punch. Let me tell you a little bit more about these guys. Salvatore Testa, known as Salvi, was one of a group of second-generation Philadelphia Mafia princes.
Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video. Thank you.
I'm going to give you my reaction to the new full Skinny Joey Merlino episode of The Skinny that just dropped on his Patreon channel today. With my exclusive reaction to Joey's interview with Pete Rose, I will insert documentary sections that I have created to add context to the topics that are being discussed, such as Pete Rose's alleged Mafia connections and individuals that are mentioned in the interview by Skinny Joey Merlino who were allegedly in the Mafia. We will also discuss Pete Rose's lifetime ban from baseball and examine if this is fair. And we are going to address the big question: should Charlie Hustle be kept out of the Baseball Hall of Fame? Pete Rose sits prominently in the pantheon of Major League Baseball. Rose's legacy is etched in the record books, boasting an unmatched array of achievements that solidify his place as one of the best to ever grace the diamond. Pete Rose has the greatest nickname in sports history, Charlie Hustle. With an astounding 4,256 hits, Rose reigns supreme as the all-time MLB leader in hits, games played, at-bats, singles, and outs. But his contributions to the sport extend far beyond mere statistics. Rose's illustrious career includes 3 World Series triumphs, 3 batting titles, the MVP award, 2 Golden Gloves, and the Rookie of the Year award. A true maestro of versatility, Rose showcased his extraordinary talent across an unprecedented 17 All-Star appearances, mastering 5 different positions. Charlie Hustle took his talents to South Philly in 1979 and helped bring the Philadelphia Phillies their first World Series in franchise history the following year. However, Rose's legacy is not without controversy. In August 1989, amidst allegations of gambling on baseball games during his tenure as both player and manager for the Reds, Rose was handed a devastating blow: permanent ineligibility from the sport he loved. Accusations swirled, including claims of betting on his own team, casting a shadow over his illustrious career. Charlie Hustle maintained he only bet on his team to win. The fallout continued in 1991 when the Baseball Hall of Fame officially banned those on the permanently ineligible list from induction, effectively closing the door on Rose's enshrinement. For years, Rose vehemently denied any wrongdoing, but in a stunning revelation in 2004, he finally confessed to betting on baseball, igniting a firestorm of debate over his potential reinstatement and Hall of Fame induction. Pete Rose's impact on the game of baseball is indelible. His name forever etched into the annals of baseball history, whether Charlie Hustle gets into the Hall of Fame or not. Let me tell you a little bit about Pete Rose and the mob. The Chicago Sun-Times unearthed startling details implicating Pete Rose in a web of high-stakes gambling. According to sources close to the investigation, Rose allegedly placed at least 6 bets with Dominic Basso, a notorious Chicago bookmaker and alleged member of the Chicago outfit, with a rap sheet a mile long. Investigator John Dowd revealed a trail of 6 phone calls between Rose and Basso spanning several years. Each call allegedly involved wagers exceeding $2,000. The Boston Herald reported that convicted bookmaker Joseph J.C. Cambra has been implicated in a high-stakes gambling operation allegedly intertwined with the patriarcha Cosa Nostra family, with ties reaching all the way to Pete Rose. Rose is said to have close associations with Cambra, who reportedly accepted hefty bets from the baseball icon. Cambra, hailing from Somerset, Massachusetts, is reported to have crossed paths with Rose during spring training in Florida, even hanging out with Charlie Hustle in the Reds' dugout. According to the Herald's expose, Cambra's rap sheet and gambling-related arrests dates back to 1959, with his connections to the Providence Cosa Nostra family, once helmed by the late Raymond Patriarca. Joey and Snuff open with a survey of Pete Rose's early career and triumphs. Pete's first game, his first hit. Rose tells stories about his first hit in baseball. It was a triple. Rose says that he made $7,000 a year in his rookie season with the Reds. He ended up winning the Rookie of the Year that season. In Rose's sophomore year, he says his salary was bumped up to $12,500. Pete jokes that he has more than $12,500 in his pocket right now during the interview with Skinny Joey. One thing about Pete Rose is that, like Skinny Joey Merlino, he has jokes. Both are very funny guys. Joey and Pete talk about how baseball has changed in terms of money and rules. Skinny Joey mentions the Ray Fosse incident. Let me tell you a little bit more about that. In one of the most talked about plays in sports history, in the 12th inning of the 1970 All-Star Game, played at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Pete Rose's home field, Rose barreled over 23-year-old catcher Ray Fosse to score the game-winning run, fracturing and separating Fosse's left shoulder. Rose was widely criticized for what many people considered unnecessarily rough play in an exhibition game. Charlie Hustle later defended himself, asserting that Fosse was blocking the base, something that is currently illegal in Major League Baseball. Pete says that when he attempted to slide, he saw that Fosse was blocking the base. He didn't want to break his collarbones, he said. Pete went on to point out that Fosse didn't miss any games as a result of his injury, whereas because of the collision, Pete actually missed 3 games. Rose talks about a couple of World Series losses and 2 glorious World Series wins for the Big Red Machine in 1975 and 1976. Pete then goes on to talk about how he played with 12 Hall of Fame players. And stay tuned, because we're going to go over this more later. Hall of Fame players and Pete, and whether Pete should be among them. Stay tuned. Pete Rose talks about how he was released by the Reds, then decided to sign with the Phillies. Charlie Hustle decided to take his talents to South Philly. Rose's contract with the Phillies was worth $3.2 million, $500,000 per year. Rose's memory and sharpness at his age is absolutely remarkable. Not only does he have jokes, he's sharp as a knife. Skinny Joey and Charlie Hustle talk about the glorious 1980 Phillies World Series win, the first World Series in Phillies team history. Skinny Joey and Charlie Hustle talk about the pivotal play that Rose made by catching a ball dropped by one of his teammates just before the ball hits the ground. Joey mentions that he was at the famous game when the Phillies won the pennant in 1980. Joey says that he was there with Salvi and Joe Punch. Let me tell you a little bit more about these guys. Salvi Testa, known as Salvi, was one of a group of second-generation Philadelphia Mafia princes, who among them was thought to be first in line to the Philly Cosa Nostra throne. However, Salvi's bloodline was star-crossed. His father, Philly Mafia boss Philip the Chicken Man Testa, would be blown to pieces on his front porch, as described in the Bruce Springsteen song Atlantic City. The young prince in capo regime, Salvi Testa, would later be betrayed by his closest friend and shot twice in the back of the head. Salvi Testa was born on March 31st, 1956, in southwest Philadelphia. Salvi was the son of former Philadelphia Cosa Nostra family boss Philip the Chicken Man Testa, and heir apparent to the throne. Salvi Testa's mercurial rise in the Philly family was later to be sinisterly extinguished by Nicodemo Scarfo. Scarfo, known as Little Nicky, orchestrated Salvi Testa's murder, snuffing out the promising career of the young, handsome, and capable capo regime. The violent history of the Testa family was deeply rooted. Salvatore's father, Philip Testa, the Chicken Man, took the helm as the family boss after the murder of Angelo Bruno in March 1980. Bruno's death triggered a brutal internal war within the family, pitting factions loyal to Harry Riccobene against Scarfo, who controlled the family's operations in Atlantic City. Salvatore Testa, inducted as a made man in June 1980, found himself entangled in the volatile power struggle. The murder of his father Philip, the Chicken Man Testa, in 1981 further fueled the family's internal conflicts. Scarfo ascended to Philly family boss, promoting his childhood friend Salvatore Chucky Merlino, Skinny Joey Merlino's pop, to underboss. Salvi Testa inherited his father's loan sharking operations, quickly earning a reputation as a high-earning, capable mafioso. Salvi Testa's life was marred by violence, surviving a shotgun attack in 1982, orchestrated in retaliation for the attempted killing of Harry Riccobene. However, internal tensions within the crime family escalated when Testa broke off his engagement to Chucky Merlino's daughter in 1984. Her name is Maria. This is Skinny Joey Merlino's sister. Although Skinny Joey Merlino has disputed this, pointing out that his sister Maria and Salvi were already broken up at the time that Salvi called off the wedding. Whatever the case, Scarfo felt threatened by Salvi Testa's ambition and growing popularity and sanctioned a hit on Salvi, setting the stage for the brutal murder of the handsome young Mafia prince on September 14th, 1984. On that dark day, Salvi's best friend, Joe Pungitor, lured him into an ambush in the back room of the Something Sweet candy store in South Philadelphia. As Pungitor chatted with Salvi, Salvatore Wayne Grande pulled a gun from beneath the cushions of a couch, skulked behind Salvi, and pumped 2 slugs into the back of Salvi's head. Grande shot Salvi one more time for good measure. Salvi Testa's hog-tied remains were found on the side of a dirt road in Gloucester Township, New Jersey. The aftermath of this treacherous murder would start the violent, downward spiral of the Philadelphia Mafia family under Little Nicky Scarfo. Salvi Testa's funeral was attended by 350 mourners on September 20th, 1984, at St. Paul's Catholic Church in Philadelphia's Italian Market section. The funeral brought a tragic end to the superstar era of the Testa family and the Philadelphia Cosa Nostra.
Billy Luna.
Rose says that Philly fans want 2 things: for players to win and for players to play hard. And Charlie Hustle said that was right up his alley because he was hardwired to win, and no one in the history of baseball played as hard as Charlie Hustle. Joey says the Philly fans love Charlie Hustle. Pete loves great food, and Joey asked him if he went to Bookbinders in Philly, and Pete said yes, indeed. He got his chow on at Bookbinders. Charlie Hustle told Joey that he took the Philly subway to every game he played for the Phillies. Joey said, yeah, Broad Street to the Patterson station, right? Joey joked that if you take the subway in Philly now, you need a fucking machine gun. Skinny Joey and Charlie Hustle are great together because they're both funny as fuck. Snuff asks Pete Rose about where his nickname Charlie Hustle came from, and Pete tells the story. Whitey Ford's teammate and best friend Mickey Mantle claimed that Ford gave Rose the nickname after Rose, playing in left field, made an effort to climb the fence and try to catch a Mantle home run that was about 100 feet over his head. According to Mantle, when he returned to the dugout, Ford said, "Hey Mick, did you see old Charlie Hustle out there trying to catch that ball?" The rest is history. Snuff asks Pete what his favorite moment in his career was. Pete says that it was when he broke the hit record on September 11th, 1985. Joey and Snuff show the clip of Rose doing it. Rose said that when he broke the record, he got a 9-minute standing ovation from 52,000 people. He said it blew his mind. They talk about how Rose was a switch hitter from the time he was 9 years old. Rose talks about his dad, who was a football player. Rose said that his dad and Roger Staubach were the two best football players out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Snuff asks Rose if he could build a dream baseball team, who would he pick? Rose's dream team includes Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt, Hank Aaron, and Frank Robertson. Rose goes on to say that Babe Ruth was the best player in baseball history. Rose says that his current favorite players are Freddie Freeman, Harper, and Trout. Rose talks about how players today miss too many games. Rose says that he only missed 9 games in all of the 1970s. Joey jokes that a pro baseball player gets a blister on his finger these days and he's out for 3 weeks. Skinny Joey, Snuff, and Charlie Hustle go over Rose's insane career stats, and Joey asks, how the f*** ain't you in the Hall of Fame? Rose answers, that's for another show. But hey, everybody, I'm about to address it, so stay tuned. Joey and Pete talked about how Pete played a lot of different positions in baseball. Snuff asked Pete, what is his favorite position? And Pete replied, doggy style. I told you Charlie Hustle has jokes, but then he said his favorite position was actually first base. Skinny Joey and Pete talk about how gambling is so intertwined with Major League Baseball now. Soon you will be able to bet right at the game while you're watching the game, right from your seat. This is part of the hypocrisy that I'm about to address. Pete tells a story of how he and Joe DiMaggio, when Pete was a really young player in 1967, went on a USO visit to Vietnam, and how there was no showers, but Joe needed to take a shower. So Pete Rose had to get up on a ladder and hold a huge canvas bag full of water above Joe DiMaggio and dump water on him so Joe could take a shower. And Pete also added the comment about how Joe DiMaggio was very well endowed.
Billy Luna.
Let's talk about if Pete Rose should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. Is there such a thing as forgiveness in our society? What is the current state of Major League Baseball in terms of those who have broken the rules or made mistakes? Baseball's recent lenient punishments for cheaters who tarnish the World Series cast a stark light on the enduring injustice of Pete Rose's exile from the sport he once dominated. For nearly 35 years, Charlie Hustle has been kept at arm's length from the game he loved, denied entry into the Hall of Fame, despite his legendary 4,256 hits and unmatched 15,890 plate appearances. I believe that it is time to reinstate Pete Rose and allow him his rightful place among the game's greats. He has been punished enough. Let's talk about the concept of what is fair punishment. It's one that not only fits the crime, but also aligns with penalties meted out to others for similar infractions. As the sands of time shift, so too does our perception of fairness. Recent scandals in baseball involving steroid use and electronic sign stealing have rocked the sport, raising questions about the integrity of the game and the adequacy of its punishments. Yet, in the face of these seismic breaches, Pete Rose's transgression, betting on his own team to win, pales in comparison. Not to mention that Major League Baseball has now partnered with sports betting giant FanDuel to intertwine betting in Major League Baseball more than ever. You will soon be able to watch a game and bet on that game from your seat in the stadium. Can you say hypocrisy? In 1989, Rose's gambling may have appeared a grave threat to the game's integrity, drawing parallels to the infamous 1919 Black Sox scandal. But in today's context, where deliberate rule breaking has directly impacted game outcomes and tainted cherished records, Rose's ban seems disproportionate and outdated. Consider the findings of electronic sign stealing by the Houston Astros, a scandal that implicated virtually the entire team, including key players and coaches. The punishment? A mere slap on the wrist, a 1-year suspension for the manager and general manager, while players walked away unscathed. In this climate of relative leniency, Rose's continued exclusion from baseball and the Hall of Fame is a stain on the sport's integrity. It's time to restore balance and to acknowledge that while Rose may have erred, his punishment far exceeds his crime. The stakes extend far beyond Rose himself. How we treat our sports legends speaks volumes about our commitment to fairness, both on and off the field. Let's balance the scale of justice here. Let Charlie Hustle into the Hall of Fame.
Billy Luna.
What I provide with my reaction videos is basically I'm giving you like super high level bonus materials for whatever topic I'm covering. In this case, it's Skinny Joey Merlino's Patreon podcast. If you are not already a paying member over at his Patreon, you need to go over there and sign up. I'm giving you kind of a summary of what goes down over there. So the link to that is right below in my description. Make sure if you're not already a member, you join up. Also, hit up his YouTube page. Ciao.
Billy Luna. Please subscribe to the Billy Luna channel and like the video. Thank you.